White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. The Pooches and the Humans are on the way into the ballpark here at Guaranteed Rate Field. This is Game 3 of a 4-game series between the Sox and the Indians. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you, and the Indians have now won 13 straight games thanks to yesterday's 9-4 win, which showed the middle of the order's power one more time.
There's a lot of thunder up and down this order, but last night it was 3, 4, and 5 in the batting order that got the job done, and we'll take a look at the guys in the middle. Austin Jackson, who was robbed of a home run the game before, not this time. It was out of the ballpark, and Jose Ramirez, who keeps hitting the ball out of the park on an annoying frequency. Encarnacion drives it into left field, so the guys in the middle were very good last night. But Jay Bruce, who was supposed to be in the lineup tonight, was scratched just before the game. That's one big bat out of their lineup.
It's a deep bench as well for Cleveland. Meantime, for the Sox, Avi Garcia, the lone All-Star, continued after the All-Star break what he did in the first half.
There's been a lot of injuries, but Avi's been the guy who's been consistent from start of this season till now. He richly deserved his All-Star nod, and he keeps on bashing the baseball. Since the break, hitting .357, he scored 20 runs. So Avi's getting it done. He's a line drive hitter who happens to hit the ball out of the ballpark, and Avi's been about as good as it gets.
He certainly has. Sox will face Carlos Carrasco today in a Cleveland starting rotation that's terribly deep as well.
There is no doubt that this team runs on their starting rotation. And with Andrew Miller disabled out of the bullpen, the starters are more important than ever. Carlos Carrasco last time out against Detroit was absolutely brilliant. He went 7 innings, gave up just 1 run, and handcuffed a pretty good lineup, and that was before they traded everybody away. Ronaldo Lopez, making his 4th start, thrown the ball pretty well, and he had a very lively fastball against Tampa Bay. He threw it by their hitters consistently. We'll see if he can get the off-speed stuff over the plate tonight, but the young man has shown a whole lot of promise. And there you see the last start by Carrasco, the last start by Ronaldo Lopez. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, but he got in trouble early, and then he battened down the hatches. A good matchup tonight, and we'll see if the Sox can take the 3rd of a 4-game series.
Lopez versus Carrasco on Dog Night at the ballpark. See if we can shoot off some fireworks against the hottest team in baseball, Indians and Sox. First pitch just around the corner.
White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Traffic and weather together here on CSN Chicago. And there's the weather portion of it. Indians and White Sox, game number 3 of a 4-game series coming up as the Sox try to stymie the Indians, who've won 13 in a row. And the big dogs here, it's like the dog pound. But Cleveland might feel a little bit at home if the dog pound were here.
Well, the dog pound is here on a night where there's a lot of hounds, good-looking hounds, on parade before the game. The people are absolutely ecstatic. There is a gigantic hound.
Oh, my goodness.
Probably has eaten a couple of the smaller hounds before the proceedings tonight.
How many tickets do you have to buy for that dog?
1 per leg.
That's a lap dog. That is a table dog.
It could very well be. The largest dog is the Irish Wolfhound. Could very well be one of those.
You could serve Thanksgiving dinner on that dog's back.
And then some.
Yeah.
Of course, he would eat your Thanksgiving dinner, but outside that, it would be just a delightful evening.
It'd be very difficult to eat it off his own back.
Wouldn't get there.
In transit, it would be consumed. Here is Reynaldo Lopez.
And so I will wait to tell you the Larry story when he stole Thanksgiving till later on.
Oh, that's what we call a tease in the broadcast industry. The Cleveland Indians, managed by Terry Francona. 5th season for Tito, Lindor, Chisenhall, and Ramirez, top 3. There was a late scratch as well. Jay Bruce, as Steve told you, out of the lineup. So Tyler Naquin jumps back in after spending most of the season in AAA.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they're going to line up behind Reynaldo Lopez. Nicky Delmonico back in the lineup, and it's nice to see him back with Adam Engel and Avisail Garcia. Then it's Yomer Sanchez, Tyler Saladino, Alan Hansen, and Matt Davidson left to right in the infield. Kevin Smith gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Reynaldo Lopez. Fresh off a very good outing. He's on for his 4th start. He's 0-2, his ERA, 6.06. He started off a little rough last time, but as he moved along and got more comfortable, he was very tough to hit. He had a lively fastball, consistently throwing it by hitters, striking out 7 in 6 innings. Got some umpires to tell you about, and it's a changed crew. Manny Gonzalez has the plate. Mark Carlson, the crew chief, is at first. C.B. Buckner is at second, and we've got John Tumpane at third base. Tim Timmons given the night off after a tough evening behind the plate last night.
Everybody in the ballpark has had a late scratch today.
It's really amazing because both teams were affected by scratches, and the umpires affected by a scratch. Terry Francona not affected by much. He had a health scare earlier. He's feeling 100%, and his ball club is feeling 200% because they're on one of the longest streaks of the last few years. Winners of 13 straight. 46 and 27 on the road. They're much better on the road than they are at home, which is somewhat amazing, but Cleveland got off to a rough start at home this year, only to pick it up, and now they're well over 500. Rick Renteria having his pitching coach back, Don Cooper, feeling 100%. It's nice to see both of them reunited in the bullpen. And they've thrown the ball around, which means we're ready to play baseball. And I am ready to turn it over to one of the great lovers of canines, Jason Benetti.
Well, I did go to dental school, so yeah.
Oh, great.
Thanks, Steve. That's not true. Neither of those are true. Francisco Lindor takes a strike, and we are underway. Reynaldo Lopez to Lindor, and a foul ball, 0-2. I should clarify, I do like dogs. I'm not a dog owner, but I enjoy dogs.
A likely story.
Well, you have all the dogs. There are none left for me. Pitch high to Lindor, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Lindor on the backswing got a piece of Kevin Smith on the last swing, so Kevin has got to beware of that.
Rob Brantley got popped yesterday by Carlos Santana.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll find guys having very long backswings, not like Jacoby Ellsbury, who actually does it by design.
Rolled to second base. Alan Hansen throws out Lindor, and there's out number 1 tonight.
Good straight change by Lopez, and he had Lindor well out in front.
Lopez's changeup worked very well in his last start.
Yeah, as soon as he got a feel for it. He didn't have it early in the game, and then, as so often happens, not only with young pitchers, but all pitchers, he started to get the feeling as he moved along and was much better in the later stages of that outing.
Ball number 1 to Lonnie Chisenhall, who was 0 for 4 in the series with a couple of walks. Cleveland, during this win streak, has outscored the opposition 93-24. They had outscored the opponents 40-4 in the first 3 innings until yesterday. The Sox did put up 4 in the first, but during the streak, 46-8 in the first 3 innings. Chisenhall up the middle, a base hit with 1 down.
Lonnie Chisenhall, who does a really good job against right-handers, struggling against a lot of the left-handers, takes this one and foils the shift. They play him as dead pull hitter in the infield. He takes it almost a straightaway shortstop. And that says Kevin Smith to the mound to talk with Lopez. Indians are tough because they have a very well-balanced team. Between right and left-hand hitters, they have a lot of switch hitters in their lineup. But they also have speed as well as the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
And here is a guy who's all of that in one package.
He's been something.
Jose Ramirez, second in Major League Baseball in extra base hits, 47 doubles so far, and that currently is tied for 18th in Cleveland history for a single season. The record is 64 by George Burns in 1926.
Went on to have a wonderful career, by the way. But Gracie hit that year.
I knew that was coming. Davidson can't make the pick. Chisenhall is on his way to third. Ramirez to second base, and the Indians are in business on a ground ball here in the first inning.
Looks like it's going to be E3, but we'll wait until the announcement. It is E3, and Davidson tried to backhand, lift it up a little too soon as the ball flattened out. Just went between his leg and his glove, as he doesn't get much of a glove on it. So, runners at second and third. Just one play like that will take an inning and give it a completely different complexion, and now Ronaldo Lopez is in trouble.
He'll face Edwin Encarnacion with his 32 homers, the most on the Cleveland roster. High in the sky, first base side, foul territory, and Davidson squeezes out number 2. That's a big pop out.
Neither of us know how this inning is going to work out, but I will tell you, if in fact Ronaldo can get out of this inning without giving up a run, he will make a very dear friend in Matt Davidson. Lively fastball. Lopez has one of those. And their leading run producer pops it straight up. So a very big out, paving the way for Santana to make the third out of the inning.
Santana, with that batting average, really buoyed by a .326 average against right-handers. Another one of the switch hitters for the Cleveland Indians. Santana, very willing to take a strike, does right there.
There's 6 switch hitters on this Indians team.
Cyndi Lauper is here.
It's a very festive dog night costume. Tyler Saladino sneaking in back of Ramirez at second base, but he got back.
Santana takes a ball in the dirt, and 1 ball and 1 strike. We told you about his ability to command the strike zone. Carlos Santana behind only Joey Votto since 2011 in walks in Major League Baseball.
And he's the only switch hitter on that list. It's pretty difficult when you are a switch hitter to maintain the same eye and the same stroke from both sides of the plate. One usually suffers.
Kevin Smith with the block that time. So 2-1 from Lopez, who spent some time on the disabled list after that start in Texas when he came up with a side injury. Officially listed as a back strain on the disabled list. 2-1. Nice changeup. 2-2.
Well, this is a good time. The game plan here is to get Santana out of the strike zone. Great change. Had him well out in front. That one diving away. One in the same spot or a face-high fastball. Certainly would look pretty good here, but again, the key is to get him out of the zone. You got a righty-righty matchup with Diaz coming up next, and a prolific run producer in Santana, who's got 73 of them this year.
'23-year-old Lopez, 31-year-old Santana. Chisenhall at third, Ramirez at second. High in the sky, left-hand side. Sanchez is out. Delmonico's in. Nicky's there, and the inning's over. The error does no harm. We'll play bottom 1. No score. The Webb Auto Group for the best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais at the best price. Go to webcars.com. Jose Abreu DHs once again. Davidson over at first. Nicky Delmonico returns for his first game in a couple of weeks. All the way down to Saladino in the 8th spot. In for Tim Anderson, a late scratch.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they'll line up behind Carlos Carrasco. It's Almonte, Naquin, and Chisenhall in the outfield, with Diaz, Lindor, Ramirez, and Santana in the infield. Roberto Perez gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Carlos Carrasco. Probably number 2 as far as the Cleveland starters are concerned, on for his 28th start of the year, 13-6, just a great year. 183 strikeouts and 164 in the 3rd innings.
Carrasco to Hansen, ball 1, and the word on Tim Anderson before the game. Sierra Santos reported on Twitter that Tim was feeling under the weather. We'll hear from Sierra coming up in the second inning on an update on a couple of different things. Hansen skies at third base side, foul territory. Almonte leaves it for Lindor, and one away.
Nice play by Lindor as he makes the long run into foul territory. Tough play for Diaz. He wisely gets out of the way. And it appeared that Almonte was not going to get there, so Lindor, who is a wonderful shortstop, makes a good play to lead it off.
2 pitches, 1 out. Here's Yolmer Sanchez, who does have a home run against Carrasco in his career. Strike 1 to Sanchez. Plays third base tonight. He's played second base. He can play all around the infield. Carrasco's got a bunch of stuff: fastball, slider, curveball, changeup.
He's got the ability to almost invent a pitch because he's got a whole bag full of them. Good changeup. And that breaking ball is not going to get hit by too many people because it came in, broke late, was perfectly placed down and in. And hopefully he will not keep it there most of the night, because if he does, it's going to be a tough night for the hitters.
Striking out 10 per 9. That's second best in his career.
He is a lone remnant of a trade with Philadelphia back in 2009. And Cliff Lee, Cy Young Award winner, going to Philadelphia. The other 3 players coming back didn't have near the effect that the man on the mound has had for the Tribe. Carrasco's been very good.
Jason Knapp, Jason Donald, and the catcher Lou Marson. Held on to by Perez, 2 down in the inning, as we show you our picks to click for this Wednesday evening. And the Crew's got a 3-point lead now, going with Matt Davidson today. Steve's got Yolmer. Fans go with Nicky Delmonico in his return. I've got Kevin Smith. Vote online, whitesox.com/pick-to-click.
Is it too late now?
Yes.
If my player cleared waivers to make a deal before the end of this game? Pick-to-click deal?
Waivers?
Yeah.
Oh, but he can't be on your postseason roster.
Well, I don't think we're going to make it.
No, pick-to-click postseason, which started yesterday.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So, though you could make the trade, you couldn't activate him.
Ever. That's good.
And you don't get to pick for the remainder of the year either, so.
Not a good play, it
you
looks
weigh
like.
the risk and reward. They got some sharp breaking balls on this staff. Bowers was very good the other day.
Bauer had a great curveball. Kluber has an unhittable curveball most of the time, and Carrasco has a curve and a slider, both sharp breakers. So yeah, they're very good, and they certainly have shown it.
One and 2 on Abreu, who's seen Carrasco more than any other Sox player at 8 for 34.
Very early in Carrasco's career, he signed a long-term deal. It was after some heart difficulties. And he said the most important thing for him was the security of making sure he took care of his family regardless of where his career went. And you have to applaud him for that.
That is a nasty breaking ball to the outside corner, and Carrasco strikes out 2 in a 1-2-3 first. CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. No score after one, and time for a Miller Lite game report. Here's Sierra Santos. Hi, Sierra.
Hey, Jason. As Hurricane Irma barrels through the Caribbean, players from the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and Cuba are all praying for the best for their friends and family. Dominican reliever Juan Minaya is from a town called Puerto Plata that's located in the north of the Caribbean, or in the north of the side of the island in the Dominican Republic. He said his mom, his dad, his two sisters, and brother, they all have houses right next to each other. They're about a 20-minute walk from the water. I asked him, I said, are they going to head south at all? He said no, that it was just as bad because looters were likely to come in and ransack their houses. I asked if they had boarded up the windows. He said it's almost pointless with wind speeds like Irma has. It's going to rip the wood panels right off. Dan Hayes also had a chance to talk to Giovanni Soto, who's the only Puerto Rican on the team. He said with the exception of his wife and kids, every one of his family members is in San Juan right now, so he's obviously very concerned. So check out for that article on Dan Hayes' Twitter and also on csnchicago.com. Guys, I'll go back up to you.
Sierra, thank you for the report, and that was a lot of the conversation around the batting cage as well today. Ricky Renteria was talking to a couple of players about their families and whether or not there was going to be an evacuation. And there's another storm behind Irma that has drawn some attention as well already as it builds. So we wish the best for all the Sox players and their families.
Yeah, taking a look at the path, and that's all we've seen weather-wise is the path of Irma. It looked like it's squaring up in some places that are going to cause a whole lot of damage and affect a lot of the current professional baseball players, because many of them are down there, and there's certain things that just are more important than baseball. And right now we certainly wish well to all the families of the players affected. It's not only down in the Caribbean, it's going to be a lot of Florida depending on the path.
Ball 4 to Yandy Diaz. Leadoff walk here in the second inning. And that's part of what weighs on these players over the course of the season is, you know, for an American-born player, your family is elsewhere or able to show up at the ballpark every once in a while within the season and bring the kids or whatever it might be. When it comes to families in Venezuela, Avi Garcia's talked about this, that he just doesn't have the ability to bring his mother to the United States. And so some attention must be paid, certainly by players, to what's going on with their families, not just one flight away. Here is Almonte. Left field, Delmonico back at the warning track. Nicky's there to bring it in. And one down here in the second inning.
Good play by Delmonico. That ball was hit hard the opposite field, and he was able to stay right with it. Knowing exactly where he was, it looked like a changeup out away was a little higher than Ronaldo would have liked. And Nicky, with about a step to spare, makes the catch. And with a good sense of promotion, right on the guaranteed rate arrow.
The down arrow points to the first out of the inning.
No question.
One down for Tyler Naquin, who, if the name sounds familiar, it's probably because you watched the Indians playoff run last year. Naquin was a big part of it and has spent the bulk of this season down with AAA Columbus. 80 games with the Clippers for Naquin.
Well, it was the top prospect they had left, Bradley Zimmer, who eventually found his way to Cleveland and did just about everything right, including securing the everyday center field job. We haven't seen Zimmer in this series because he is shelved with concussion protocol. That was after diving for ball in center field. He does like to do that a whole lot. Takes a lot of speed away from the Indians with Zimmer out of the lineup. He's 17 of 18 in stolen bases. And we should probably see him tomorrow night.
A little bit high, 1-2 to Tyler Naquin.
He was third last year. in Rookie of the Year balloting, so he had a pretty decent season. Michael Fulmer, number 1. Gary Sanchez, the Yankee catcher, number 2. And Naquin was number 3.
Naquin floats it foul left-hand side. This Cleveland team now just 3 games behind Houston for the best record in the American League. The Astros 85-53. They're on the road tonight to face the Mariners.
Cleveland might have a fairly sizable advantage, even though they do trail by 3. They're in a weaker division than Houston occupies.
Broken bat up the middle. Saladino can't glove it. The ball sits in short right field, and the Indians have second and third with 1 out. What could have been a double play ball becomes second and third for Cleveland.
Almost the identical scenario as the first inning. Breaks the bat. Tyler can't get to it. Hits off the glove, bounds away, and puts 2 men in scoring position. It's a double.
So second and third, 1 out, and Perez the batter. Lopez pitched over it once. See if he can do it again. Well, you mentioned the Astros division. 4 of the 5 teams in that division are at least considering themselves in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, that makes it a lot tougher than what we see in the Central.
Called a strike. 1-1 to Perez.
Perez started the first game of the series, had a couple of doubles and a couple of strikeouts. He drove in a run, but seems to get big hits against Sox pitching for whatever reason.
It's an RBI double in the second inning of game 1, then another double in the 9th. One and 2. Stick around, by the way, for the top of the 3rd inning. We are going to be joined by Sox prospect Michael Kopech, who just finished his season with AAA Charlotte after being the most outstanding pitcher in the AA Southern League with Birmingham. He'll be up here in the booth to visit with us. Could have been a strike. 2-2.
That was a very good pitch. It had the lower part of the zone. Kevin Smith did a nice job with it, but Manny Gonzalez says nope, not good enough. You see where it crosses the plate? It's above the back knee. By the time Kevin caught it, it was down and out of the zone, but it certainly came over the plate. A strike, as you can tell there, by PitchCast, sponsored by Honda.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Perez. Lindor is next. Called strike 3. Perez wiped away this time. Lopez got the verticality. 2 down.
It was a terrific straight change, something that Perez was not looking for, and it's really hard to look for a 2-2 straight change. But it's not only the velocity, but excellent location, and Perez goes down on strikes.
I'd like to welcome all our viewers watching the White Sox on CSN tonight on CASCOM. Two down for Lindor, who grounded out to second base his first time. It takes ball 1 from Lopez. When you look at it, just a couple remaining starts for every pitcher in the rotation, somewhere between 4 and 5 left.
Yeah, you're talking about game 138, and so we're getting down to a precious few.
Pop-up, third base side. Reynaldo Lopez twice has had second and third and one out. And twice the Indians, the hottest team in baseball, haven't scored.
Cast brought to you by Wintrust. Lucas Giolito sits down with our Chuck Garfien to talk about his first 3 starts with the White Sox and why he's a different pitcher now as opposed to last year. Plus, my partner, the effervescent Jason Benetti, joins Chuck to talk about Giolito, Eloy Jimenez, and the chemistry inside the White Sox clubhouse, despite their last place record. Subscribe to the Sox Talk podcast today.
Talking about me like I'm not here.
Are you?
I don't know.
Oh. I just saw you being interviewed by our Chuck.
Well, you make a cameo in the podcast as well.
I do, not in an unpaid cameo certainly, but I was the audience for a good portion of it before I was cameoed in.
You can hear Steve do such things as yell at me from off mic, clap from off mic, and yell at me on mic in the White Sox Talk podcast. First pitch, bottom 2 is inside to Avi Garcia. After a 1-2-3 first for Carlos Carrasco.
Judging by the stuff Carrasco had in the first inning, Sox would be wise to try to jump on anything straight early in the count. Because if you get to a breaking ball situation, it was really good last inning.
Into the night sky in right field. Lonnie Chisenhall stalks it and makes the catch for out number 1. Major League Baseball proudly celebrates Roberto Clemente Day, which recognizes one player from each club who best represents the game through positive contributions on and off the field. Visit MLB.com/Clemente to learn more. Jose Abreu, the nominee for the White Sox this year because of all of his work on and off the field. Abreu's Amigos, the program that he has for kids in Chicagoland. Once again thriving this season, and Jose just has turned out to be an absolute not only performance leader but clubhouse leader this year.
Yeah, it was a perfect time for him to step up, and he had a couple of opportunities that you don't usually see. One was with Reynaldo Lopez, where he actually called Rick Renteria and Herm Schneider back to say he is not 100%. Talk to him about his back, and that's what happened, and that put him on the shelf. But it was a nice job of taking over in a situation where he already has the respect of his team because of his playing ability, and now they also look to him for his leadership, which is just going to get stronger and stronger as he moves along.
Nicky Delmonico back from injury, that right wrist bruise, which had him on the shelf for a couple of weeks. Here's a nice addition behind Abreu in the lineup, behind Garcia today, batting 5th.
Had a good swing at a high fastball. And there are a couple more of our four-legged friends as they enjoy the game tonight. White Sox cap in evidence. The scarves. Very nice.
It's a good look.
It's a very good look.
Top to second, Jose Ramirez. 2 gone in the second inning.
Pretty nice article today in the Sun-Times. They were describing some of the other people's views of Jose Abreu. And one of the things that just about every person, when asked about Abreu, they talk about his work ethic. They talk about what he does on a daily basis to make himself better. And they talk about the fact that if you just watch him, forget about what he says, just watch him going about his daily business, you're going to learn something, whether you're a young player, whether you're a veteran player, because he's the best they have, and he works as hard and harder than most.
Called strike to Davidson on a close pitch to Matt, who absolutely crushed a ball in the first inning yesterday. 3-run homer, number 24 on the year, as Carrasco seems to be hitting just about any spot he wants to at this point.
Yeah, very good stuff in the early going for Carlos Carrasco.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. 6 up, 6 down for Carlos Carrasco today. And we'll have a special guest in the booth. It's this guy, Michael Kopech, who evidently had a wedding to get to after batting practice. More overdressed than we are, certainly, for the game. We'll hear from Michael, one of the top Sox prospects, after this. Back. This is Michael Kopech, the most outstanding pitcher in the Southern League this year. He made it up to AAA. Welcome. Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you, Jason. I'm glad to be here.
Did they make you really buy a ticket? You came in here with a ticket.
Yeah, I had to buy this for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
That's amazing. I don't understand. How'd the season go for you?
There was, a lot of ups and downs. And June was a rough month for me, but other than that, I felt like I really progressed this year, and the opportunity to finish off in AAA was just amazing for me.
We were talking about the slider you throw now as opposed to the one you threw, let's say, last year. Why did you go to a different one?
Just because the one I was throwing at the time was bigger, it was a little slower. Hitters just had more time to see the break and adjust if need be, and the one I'm throwing now is a much tighter grip, and it's around 88, 90, and it's still a pretty decent break on it. So to me, that's a more effective pitch than the one I've thrown previously.
Why did you decide to make that change?
You know, a guy that throws, upper 90s to 100, I figured a firm breaking ball would be more effective than a slower one. I figured a guy would be able to, it would be harder for him to adjust. And so that's kind of the main reason. And, it became a pitch that I used as an out pitch a lot, so I use that more often than not now.
So what's the difference between hitters in AA and AAA?
At both levels, there's great hitters, but I think the main difference is just AAA hitters seem to have a better approach as a whole. It's harder to get ahead of guys, and when you do get ahead of guys, it's harder to put them away. So I wouldn't say it's hard in general, but it is a more difficult level, and stating the obvious at least. But
this one to left field, Delmonico there, 2 down.
At the big league level, it's going to be that much better, and so that adjustment being made to a hitter's approach is going to be key for me.
What are you going to do this offseason? I know our fans certainly want to know what your plans are going to be.
For the most part, right now I'm going to take a little bit of time off. I feel like I need a little bit of a break, kind of just relax for a couple weeks, and then really get into the offseason, start lifting, start running, getting ready to throw, but not picking up a ball at the same time until probably December or so.
What do you think of Chicago?
I love Chicago so far. This is the first time I've got to see the city, or the stadium, excuse me. But it's a great stadium. Honestly, not just being a biased White Sox player right now, but I think this is my favorite stadium.
You had such a wonderful year. What do you believe that you have to improve upon as you move up to the higher levels and eventually wend your way here to Chicago?
I know that it's throwing a changeup for strikes more often. I know it's using it more than I have been, and once I get that opportunity to kind of, once I get more opportunities to throw it, because I felt like I was able to get away without throwing it at all hardly in Birmingham, but once I was in Charlotte, I needed to throw it more, and once I throw it a little bit more this offseason, face some guys in spring, throw it some more in spring, I feel like it'll be where I need it to be.
High in the air, first base side, and this is going to be out number 3. Where'd you get those cleats from the Futures game?
My Adidas rep had sent them to me. They were colorful.
Good look. Michael, thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That's Michael Kopech. No score after 2.5 here in Chicago.
Look forward to Miller time. Later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Boy, I could use one of those.
Yeah, I think water would do the same thing.
Might, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a little better for all things concerned.
So Kevin Smith will lead off here in the third. Michael Kopech, we only got a couple of short minutes with him because of his compatriot Reynaldo Lopez buzzsawing the Indians 1-2-3 in the third inning. But Michael Kopech, in our experience, has his head on straight and understands how to pitch. It's just refining it.
And what's really interesting when you talk to a young pitcher who's as overwhelming as Michael Kopech is, he can get all the hitters he has to get out in Double-A, and many of them out in Triple-A as a two-pitch pitcher. Fastball, hard slider, maybe occasionally with a soft slider. But to take the next step, Don Cooper and everybody else in the organization has told him he's got to refine that straight change, and it will come to him.
Well, he was talking to these, it was about 100 people before the game. He was talking to some season ticket holders here at the ballpark, and one of the things that Michael Kopech said about Double-A hitters as compared to Triple-A hitters is Single-A hitters to Double-A hitters are better. Double-A to Triple-A, they're better with an approach, is what he noticed. 0-2. Chopped foul.
Well, you're not going to face former major leaguers in Double-A very much, but you do in Triple-A. You face guys who have been to the big leagues and they've come back. Some of the guys are injured, they're on rehab, but you're going to face a lot of major league hitters, so they will have a different approach. They will have a refined approach, and that's part of the learning process for not only Michael Kopech, but everybody who goes through it.
Ground ball past the mound to second, and Jose Ramirez for out number 1 here in the third. Stanley, the official tools of the Chicago White Sox. Stanley, performance in action. Who will be the first base runner tonight for the Sox? Will it be Saladino?
You can't really look at a pitcher and say he will throw a no-hitter tonight.
But you can have the stuff.
He's got no-hit stuff tonight. I don't know if he can keep it. If he can, it's going to be really tough for the hitters.
What makes you say that? The sharpness of the breaking ball?
The command he's had early and the sharpness of the breaking ball. Combining the two make it really difficult to hit.
When you have that really good breaking ball, how often does it last the entirety of your game?
Well, it depends on if you're changing speeds, how many types of breaking balls you have. In the case of Carrasco, he has a little bit bigger curveball to go with a very short late breaking slider, both of them. And he can maintain it. You know, he's going to hang a couple. Depends. You got to get some breaks too.
There's always one in a perfect game no-hitter type scenario where
you
you
get
say,
a great play behind you,
or say in left center field.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, if there were an amazing catch.
If there were.
Yeah. If that ever were to happen.
Put in Dwayne Wise late.
Yeah, something like that.
And he were to make a catch, yeah.
0-2. There's that breaking ball for strike 3. Fourth punch out for Carrasco.
Watch the break on this. Comes up spinning, and at the last instant it dives away. That's his short breaking. You can call it a slider. I mean, pitchers call it whatever they want to call it. That's completely different than the bigger, slower breaking ball that he also has, which breaks very sharply.
Adam Engel. There's a breaking ball, too, with a different look.
Yeah, knee buckler is. He was thinking about laying one down, but not on the last pitch.
That's not going to feel great.
No, and that's a terrific place for a fastball. When it's strike 1, you go inside off the plate. You get a hitter in a situation where he's swinging to try to protect. If it was a ball 1 count, might not swing at that pitch, but you saw the late move and you saw the spin, which took that fastball right in on the hands of Engel, and he fouled it off his body.
0-2. Popped up first base, 12-pitch inning, all strikes for Carlos Carrasco. That is some good stuff. No score after 3 tonight. Sox take on the Twins Saturday, September 23rd. First 20,000 fans. I don't think it's the Twins, but it's the Royals. First 20,000 fans. I should read the screen, shouldn't I? Now this is just stream of consciousness. You get an Orgullo Sox soccer-style jersey in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, presented by Coca-Cola. To buy tickets, visit WhiteSox.com. I'm Ron Burgundy. Just put it in front of me, I'll read it.
Well, in hindsight, it is Kansas City, though. That's a good thing.
You would think every once in a while I just look up and look at the screen and have it say Kansas City, which I knew. We've talked about it the last couple days.
Yeah. But see, that young man is enjoying dollar hot dog night. Does not care who's here on the 23rd. And be careful of the aluminum foil, son. He's actually chewing the aluminum foil.
I got inspired by him.
You have a corn dog there, and the most amazing part about that is there's actually mustard on it. It's hard to believe you would put mustard on a hot dog.
You think that's hard to believe?
Yeah.
People like all sorts of things on their hot dog.
You're a ketchup guy.
No. Stop. You're trying to get me in big trouble with all of the fine, rational people of Chicagoland. 2-2. Fades outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
There they are. $1 dogs.
I like Dollar Dog Night.
I think it's a wonderful promotion. And how appropriate. Dollar Dog Night on Dog Night.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
You don't see that all that often.
You don't. How often do you see it? In the air. Left center field. Delmonico charging. Mickey has a glance off his glove. And then he's close enough to it, so Santana has to stop at first.
He might have hurt that wrist again. It looks like he did on the late dive. And Rick Renteria is heading out that way. Herm Schneider now joining him as they go to left field, and Nicky gives him the thumbs up. We'll take another look at it. Delmonico comes across and he just misses it.
So he lands firmly on the left wrist. The right one had him on the disabled list, but he also planted the right one as he was falling too.
Yeah, I think that's where the pain came.
Ball 1 to Diaz, as the Indians have had runners on in 3 of the 4 innings, but Lopez has pitched around it.
Santana thinks it's a pop-up. He should be standing on second, and he's not, which is a break because a double play is now in order.
Two 2-0 on Diaz, and he skies it foul right side. 2-1 to Yandy Diaz, the 26-year-old infielder for the Indians.
Yandy, a Cuban-born player, signed by the Indians. Finding his way to the major leagues because of that bat. It's a good one.
There was some thought as scouting was going on with Ramirez and Diaz that Diaz might turn out to be the better hitter than Jose Ramirez, but Ramirez has busted out so wildly above anyone's expectations that it's going to be difficult for anyone to match it.
Well, switch hitter with power on both sides of the plate. Ramirez has had 2 outstanding seasons.
On the ground, second base, Hansen can't glove it.
I'd have to think somewhere in there would be an error. This has not been one of the better defensive efforts for the Sox this year. Bob Rosenberg calling a base hit.
So the Indians with 4 hits in the game so far, and 3 have gone off of a glove.
Yep. Few plays should have been made that weren't.
Now Almonte, and we'll see how many times Lopez can weave around traffic. Strike 1 starts Almonte. In the dirt, kicking away, and only 1 runner advances. Santana to third. Diaz didn't go.
Ronaldo's been throwing a few pitches that have bounced in front of the plate. And that is a wild pitch.
One and one on Almonte. 61 pitches for Lopez. And that was a late decision by Almonte. 1-2.
It's a good straight change. Drifted out of the zone, and Almonte decided it was too close to take.
Changeup's been dancing again today for Lopez. Santana at third, Diaz at first. Almonte on 1 and 2 takes inside. You look at Lopez's last start, 32% swinging strikes on changeups, third best for a Sox pitcher all year, according to StatCast.
Well, not only is it a good motion, but he usually throws it in a very good spot.
So back-to-back fastballs in. What's the deal on 3 and 2, you think?
If Kevin Smith believes Ronaldo can get a straight change over the plate, it's a really good time to throw it. But, and Kevin would know better than anybody if his pitcher can throw a strike on command.
3 and 2. Fastball at 97, fouled back.
That's going to send Kevin to the mound to talk with Lopez and bring Saladino and Yolmer, and that's it.
By the way, you saw Kevin Smith's fingernails. For those that are uninitiated, that's not just a manicure.
Yeah, you can pretty much use any color you want. You want a color that's going to stand out, especially on a night game. You see that it doesn't cover the fingernail on both sides because Kevin wants to get a good feel if he has to make a throw, which catchers do. And so you want something that stands out, and that fluorescent green, which is not like Soylent Green, but
yeah, this isn't made of people.
No, it's paint, relatively.
3 and 2 on Almonte. And it's down low, ball 4. He went away from the fastball and walked Almonte. Bases loaded, and here comes Coop. Let's give you our Sox math question for tonight while Coop is out there on the mound talking to Lopez. Hashtag Sox math on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize off the prize shelf. And here is your question for the night. Number of games left in the homestand after tonight, multiplied by the number of Sox runs in the first inning yesterday, minus the number of Sox affiliates in the postseason, and then add the number of Sox games remaining with the National League. That's your question for tonight. Hashtag Sox math on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize off the prize shelf.
With the bases loaded and nobody out, Ronaldo Lopez, who pitched out of a second and third one-out jam in the first, a second and third one-out jam in the second, now is asked to go to the well for the third time. Most veteran pitchers usually can go to the well 2, sometimes 3 times, but certainly not in the first 4 innings, and that's what the youngster has got to deal with.
First pitch down and in, ball 1. Think it harder as the game goes on to pitch over these types of scenarios?
Yeah, because you're reaching back, getting a little something extra in times where, had plays been made, you would have been much more relaxed.
Breaking ball for a swinging strike, 1-1.
With the bases loaded, Naquin has not done very well. Here's another opportunity. And the game plan, if you're going to lay one out here, is strike out Naquin and get Perez to ground into a double play.
Sounds good to me.
First things first, he's got to get Naquin.
1-1. Well hit by Naquin, left center field, but Delmonico is there. The Indians get a run. Santana scores, and it's 1-0.
RBI number 14 for Naquin. Looked like a straight change down. He was able to get enough of it. Ball seems to be hanging up a bit in the alleys tonight.
That was not the case in yesterday's game.
No, it wasn't.
Baseball was hang gliding.
By the way, that was the first run batted in by Naquin.
So now Perez, the 28-year-old catcher who has the only strikeout tonight. There's a changeup from Lopez in the second inning. A lot of extra pitches from Lopez because of some plays that could have been made and weren't.
That's usually the case. You know, it's 70 pitches, but you can get to 70 pitches a lot of different ways. And these 70 pitches have come in very high stress situations, especially for a young pitcher trying to wend his way out of some monumental jams.
What do you think of his stuff tonight?
I think the stuff is fine. I mean, with the amount of pitches he's thrown, if some of the plays that had been presented were actually made, he might find himself heading to the 6th inning. Now it's going to be a little more difficult for him unless he can throw a ground ball here to Perez.
1-1. Ball stayed up and Perez fouled it away.
He throws a fastball, little above belt high. Good cut by Perez. Fortunately, fouls it straight back. And Kevin's got to be careful because Perez has a very long backswing, and the last thing he wants to do is catch one in the side of the head.
Popped it up. Foul ground and out of play. Well, with Lindor on deck, you'd love to get 2, but at least 1 is pretty imperative if you're going to avoid a big inning. And there's 1. Strike 3. Perez fanned again by Lopez. 2 down.
This was an excellent breaking ball. No matter what you want to call it, slider or curveball. The late break had Perez well out in front, and then no chances. That one cut across the strike zone.
Almonte at first, Diaz at second, 2 down now. Almost hit Lindor, who's got the all-time home run lead in a single season for a shortstop for the Cleveland Indians at 26. And he put up big home run numbers early in the season. Maybe affected his batting average for a while. Got a little homer happy, but has settled in very nicely after the break, Lindor.
He's got some surprising power from both sides of the plate. So the sky's the limit as far as just how good he's going to be. But average-wise, been a better right-hand hitter than a left-hand hitter.
Breaking ball away, 2-1. Yeah, 305 against lefties, 251 against righties for Lindor this year. For a Cleveland team that's got the second best on-base percentage in baseball and has a 3-1 count for Lindor. Sox bullpen had to eat up 6 innings yesterday after 3 from David Holmberg. It was 4 relievers: Pelfrey, Fulmer, Fry, and Beck. 3-2.
And with the Sox pen up and going, Don Cooper and Rick Renteria know that you can only pitch yourself out of so many jams as Gregory Infante starts to throw in the pen.
Three-two. In the air, left field. Delmonico on the run to the corner. Nicky makes the catch. So bases loaded, nobody out, and the Indians just get one run. Nicky gets a friend.
The Bears take on the Falcons in their season opener. CSN kicks off its game day coverage with Bears pregame live, hosted by Lawrence Holmes. Along with Lawrence, former Bears Lance Briggs, Jim Miller, and Alex Brown. It's the only live local Bears pregame show in Chicago. Live stream available at csnchicago.com/watchlive.
In the event before the game that Michael Kopech had with season ticket holders, one Sox fan asked him if he can throw a football 100 miles an hour, and if so, would he think about taking up football? So you know it's just about Bears season when we're trying to convert the prize prospect.
Yeah, you take the 102 mile an hour fastball, and then just as he's reaching the precipice of the major leagues, switch him over to football.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't mess him up at all.
Good idea.
Well, Kopech is from Texas. I mean, he grew up in Mount Pleasant, Texas, and same town actually where Maury Buford, the former Bears punter, is from. But he said he can't even throw a football 30 yards, which is kind of surprising.
Completely different grip.
Different size too.
No, really?
Yeah, they've changed it since you were taking up athletics.
Where they had the round ball in those days? Yeah. I think Michael should stay exactly where he is for the health and welfare of the Sox starting rotation in a couple of years.
Yeah, no thanks on Michael Kopech, backup quarterback. Sharp breaking ball, strike three. Carrasco with strikeout number 5. He's retired 10 in a row to start the game. Sox math answered. 4 games left in the homestand, times 4 runs in the first, 16, minus 1 affiliate in the postseason. And then add 3 games remaining with the National League as the Sox will take on the San Francisco Giants starting on Friday. Hawk will be here for those with you. And by the way, Kannapolis, that postseason team, making the playoffs for the first time since 2009, the Intimidators. And they're going to have to wait a little bit longer for their very first game. It was postponed tonight due to inclement weather against the Greensboro Grasshoppers in the lovely Piedmont Triad area. But Jake Berger, Gavin Sheets, 2 top picks for the Sox this year, are on that Kannapolis roster. Dylan Cease, who came over in the Jose Quintana trade.
He was supposed to throw the first game, but having arm fatigue, now he won't do that. They're going to shut him down.
Sanchez skips it into the crowd, 1-2.
He's going to throw a slider. Let's see if he gets it inside to Yolmer.
Yolmer powers it high in the air, but foul right side. It wasn't inside enough to avoid big contact, but it was inside enough to force him to arch and foul.
Yeah, pretty decent location. Yolmer got out ahead of it a little too quickly.
One and two, just 42 pitches from Carrasco. And a swing and a miss, 97 tailing away. 6 strikeouts for Carlos Carrasco tonight. If you had to, based on just approach and, well, that's fun. I was sidetracked by a dog drinking water. If you had to choose based on simply approach and first at bats of the night, who would you pick to be the guy to break up Carrasco's bid here?
Well, I'd love to say Jose. Then again, I would have really loved to say Yolmer, but as we know, we saw the result of that one.
0-1. It's ball 1. So you'd say Jose, or you would just love to say Jose and you're not going to?
Right.
Okay.
I'll hang around till Delmonico and see what happens. Maybe it can be broken up before that.
11 straight retired by Carrasco tonight. That was very similar to the breaking ball that he struck Jose out on in the first. Ball and 2 strikes. Jose lays off, 2-2.
Pretty good sharp breaking ball from Carrasco. Fortunately, it was way out of the zone.
Sox trailing 1-0 thanks to an Indians 4th inning run. Tyler Naquin a sac fly. Two and 2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 12 up, 12 down, 7 strikeouts for Carrasco, and only 1 ball has left the infield. Some brick and mortar stores are struggling. However, there's one that's thriving. It's Chris Kamka's Swap Meets, where Steve and I have to blindly pick somebody. Who you taking today?
Well,
I love the music.
yeah, it is kind of swap meetish. The RBIs, the average, grossly favor the guy on the left. But knowing Chris Kamka as I do, and the traps that he likes to set, I'll take the guy on the right.
So you're thinking about it past where you think he thinks you're going to think.
Well, yeah.
You think that he thinks that you think
That's it.
that you should take the guy
Like
on the left.
Princess Bride again.
Here, drink out of this cup. 2 balls and a strike on Chisenhall. By the way, you can follow Chris on Twitter at @CKampka. Not that he needs more followers. He has like 20,000. Adam Engel in center field for out number 1. You took the right.
Yes.
Okay.
That means you took the left.
I get the guy on the left.
With overwhelming numbers on the guy on the left.
Looks like I got the big winner.
Oh, by far.
But we'll see. Oh boy.
There you see.
Today is the day that he passed Lou.
That was during the streaks, however.
Well, I get the guy who set the mark. Of course I win.
No,
or is it not about winning? It's how you play the game.
It is how you play the game. You get the iron horse.
I remember that game vividly. I'm sitting at home and watching as they stopped the game, and Cal took the victory lap at Camden Yards. They unfurled the banner. You were doing a game that night, I bet, right? Line to first, Davidson. Here it was back in 1995.
It's hard to believe you could play that many games in a row. You don't get hurt, you don't get sick, you don't get anything. You just show up, your name's in the lineup, and it went on a bit beyond that.
That's during the streak. Gehrig with more home runs, better on base percentage, but just being in the game that much provides so much value to the team.
No doubt.
Over Yomer into left field for Encarnacion, and a 2-out single. The longest current streak in baseball, by the way, is Alcides Escobar for the Royals at 309.
He's got a way to go yet. Ronaldo has 1-1-2-3 inning, that coming in the 3rd inning. Now he's got to get by the man who scored the lone run in the ball game, Carlos Santana.
Today, by the way, while we're on this day in history, today in the year 2000, Scott Sheldon of the Rangers played all 9 positions against the White Sox. Sox scored 10 in the first 2 innings, and then Sheldon just bopped around the bases and the outfield, catcher, and struck out Jeff Leafer on the mound.
A lot like Bert Campaneris did years before.
Hit hard past second into right field. 2 darts. Encarnacion, then Santana with 2 out.
Santana now 2 for 3. This ball hit awfully hard. Fortunately, it was a sinking line drive.
By the way, again, those numbers we showed you were during the streak, so it's not the total home runs for Gehrig or Ripken Jr. over the careers. Those are just during their iconic streaks. Hansen a visit, Lopez the farewell, and Diaz to bat. Yandy Diaz's eye black took a left turn and a right turn.
Apparently very bright out there.
Those lights,
Whew,
they can get you.
terribly bright.
Lopez seems unfazed when there are runners on.
The fact that he's had the kind of problems he's had tonight and only one run on the board to this point is a testament to how good his stuff is.
Problems meaning around him.
Yeah, things that you have no control over. Like a spotted hound.
Hi there.
Want a snack?
Do we want a snack?
Sure.
Yeah, send it over. Fades inside 2-1 on Diaz. Cleveland winners of the first 2 games of this series, 5-3 and 9-4.
And during this run of 13 games, they've averaged just a touch over 7 runs a game. So every part of what Cleveland is this year has shown up in this streak. Last year they had a 14-game streak. Trying to tie that tonight.
In the air, right side, Avi Garcia hops into the catch, and the inning's over. Cleveland has marooned 8 tonight. Lopez pitching over trouble, 1-0. And thank you for your wonderful work on the White Sox Talk podcast all season long. Chuck gets great guests, and then he ran out this week. He got Giolito, and then he was stuck with me.
Yes, but it was a lengthy podcast.
You're just saying it's lengthy because you didn't get your chair for like half an hour.
Well, that's true also,
But Chuck, in all seriousness, not being self-congratulatory about my appearance on the podcast. Chuck does a great job, and his crew booking guests and getting people and thinking ahead. It's one of the best podcasts out there, so well done. This is hit number 1 tonight. Avi Garcia is on to lead off the 5th.
looked like he got his first ball fastball and took it right back up the middle. It was a fastball. And the no-hitter, the perfect game, goes by the boards.
So often you see the second hit come very quickly after the first one.
Would be a good time for it.
Yeah, we'll take it. Nicky's the batter. And he's pushed off the plate, 1-0. To first base, Santana starting the rundown. And one more throw. There's the tag. Ramirez lays it on, and a double play.
Well, it turned out to be a very good play by Santana because he didn't throw the baseball. And Avi had no idea where the ball was, so he had to slow down and get in a rundown. Once you tag the base, everybody in the infield is yelling tag him. And then Avi tries to figure out where the ball is before Ramirez does the honors.
So 3-6-4 on the double play. Wasn't exactly the form you're looking for from Lindor. Just flicked it up there, but Ramirez was waiting for it. Strike one to Davidson.
Santana set it up well, and then Avi had no idea where the ball was, so he had to slow down. And then he was a relatively easy out.
.53 pitches for Carlos Carrasco through 4 2/3.
Not even a hint of a walk yet.
The next 3-ball count for Carlos Carrasco will be the first 3-ball count tonight for the White Sox.
Carrasco's just had magnificent stuff and using it very well.
30-year-old right-hander out of Barquisimeto in Venezuela. Needs a strike. Two and two. That fights it off to first base and Carlos Santana, so Carrasco still has faced the minimum, though the Sox have their first hit. Pitchers duel, 1-0. White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate. Team up with your hometown lender for low mortgage rates. and a fast, easy process. Get started now at rate.com. 1-0 into the 6th inning. A far cry from yesterday's 4-3 after 1. And the Indians with only a sacrifice fly providing the run so far tonight. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone with you, and we thank you for joining us.
Both of these pitchers have done it different ways. Carrasco has just been overwhelming and in no trouble whatsoever. Conversely, Ronaldo Lopez in all kinds of trouble, but making big pitches when he's had to on dog night.
Just got a tweet a little while ago. Please show more dogs. They are so cute. Teapot, evidently living under a dome somewhere, tweets in about the dogs and how cute they are. Ball and a strike on El Monte. Oh, you're going to tell a story about Larry.
And the day that he stole Thanksgiving.
Teased it earlier. You gotta finish the story.
Yeah, I'll wait just a touch, see how this develops. I have to carry it over.
How the story develops or the inning?
No, I know how the story develops, but the inning.
Nobody out. There's timeout. Tell the story.
Well, it's developing.
I think you're stalling.
Could be.
Oh, time called again. Yeah, see? You got time.
I'm going to keep it in abeyance.
Oh, jeez. A layaway story. 1-2. On the ground, second base. Hansen's down on it, 1 away. You can follow Dan Hayes, our White Sox insider, all season long on CSNChicago.com. Presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
You would have to say between the first, the second, and the 4th inning, Ronaldo Lopez has been able to perform the Great Escape because he's sitting there holding a very high-powered offense to just 1 run. And it could easily be 4 or 5-0 right now.
Second and third, 1 out in the first inning. Second and third, 1 out in the second inning. Bases loaded, nobody out in the 4th inning. 2 on, 2 out in the 5th inning. Davidson at first has the 2nd out. So Lopez just over 100 pitches, trying to make his way through the 6th.
And that's the interesting thing about this performance by Ronaldo. He could have had the exact same performance that Carrasco's having, but he will, in the eyes of Rick Renteria and Don Cooper, this is going to be a more important outing for him because he's pitched over 3 very difficult jams and didn't blink, just kept on making good pitch after good pitch, wasn't affected by anything.
Center field, angle back, Adam dancing to the spot for round number 3. 1-2-3 inning for Lopez. Still 1-0. halfway to St. Patrick's Day, presented by Jameson Irish Whiskey. Join us as we celebrate the heritage of the Southside Irish. For 20,000 fans, 21 and up, get a White Sox flat cap, and be sure to stay after the game for fireworks. Get tickets today by visiting whitesox.com/SPD. And an intriguing series against the Giants, in part because of the pitching matchups. Giolito's going on Friday after a couple great starts. Jeff Samardzija on Saturday, and then Madison Bumgarner on Sunday. And we'll see if Bruce Bochy decides to let him DH. Likely not, but it's there as a possibility.
You never really know. I mean, how many people
they for himself,
right? You never know how many guys they called up or who they would like to see get some at bats. So we'll wait and see what happens. But it's Matt Moore, Samardzija, and Bumgarner, three pretty good ones for the Giants.
0-1 pitch flared out to right field. Chisenhall plays it on a couple hops, and Kevin Smith has a leadoff single here in the 6th.
He took an inside fastball, inside outs it, and because there's not a whole lot on it, drops it in front of Chisenhall. So a very promising way to start the bottom of the 6th.
Tyler Saladino, still mustache free, although starting to grow back pretty quickly. He said ever since he grew the mustache, he has to shave all the time now if he's going to try and get rid of it. Ground ball to second, and it's 2. Ramirez, Lindor, and Santana. Second double play turned by the Indians tonight.
Not only the second double play, but it was a second double play. One pitch after a base hit. This is hard hit. Ramirez right there, and then it's easy with Lindor coming across, making a good solid throw. '60th pitch on the way, and he's 1 out away from getting out of 6 innings. That's very impressive.
Yeah, that's shutout stuff.
Yep, very good. But it's been good since Hansen popped up as the first hitter in the first inning.
Has gone a full 9 5 times in his career, and yes, we're putting the cart way up before the horse, but he's got 5 9-inning starts to his name, the last one coming June a year ago. New bat time for Adam Engel.
Corey Kluber has 4 complete games for the Indians, which in this era of baseball is very impressive. 2 of those are shutouts. Josh Tomlin has a complete game for them. And I would think that Gregory would be coming in after a great night's work by Ronaldo Lopez.
Over 100 pitches, 6 pretty taxing innings.
Yeah, he pitched his way out of a lot of trouble, and one of the things you want to do with young pitchers, especially late in the season, is take them out of the ball game after a solid 6 like tonight and leave them with a very positive attitude about what they accomplished, and this was quite an accomplishment.
Lindor at shortstop has the final out, and Carrasco still has faced the minimum through 6. Special occasion or host clients in the newest suite at Guaranteed Rate Field. Suite 134 hosts up to 25 people and is conveniently located along the main concourse. Experience the game from this unique new perspective. For more info, 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com/group. Sox are going to the bullpen.
And Gregory Infante coming in the ball game. After 6 solid from Ronaldo Lopez, Gregory out for the 42nd time. He's 1-1. His ERA at 3.43. He's had a nice run out of the bullpen. Opponent's hitting 247. That's less than a hit per inning. And he's got to deal with the top of the order for the Indians. So 6 innings, 1 run on 6 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts for Ronaldo Lopez, who was in a whole lot of trouble and pitched his way out of it each and every time, giving up just a 1 run on a sacrifice fly.
He navigated his way out of this game with a 1-2-3 6th inning. He made sure that there was no need to clean up any mess upon his departure. So 1-0. And Lindor, who's 0 for 3. By the way, the American League wild card, every day you look and somebody's dropped off the planet, somebody's trying to rise, but nobody can get any separation. The Angels, for a moment, had that second wild card spot, but they lost to Oakland today. As Lindor tags this one high and deep to right field toward the pole, and it is foul.
That would stayed fair a long time with Lindor bidding for home run number 27. Fortunately, it hooked in front of the pole. A towering fly ball. He got a hold of a fastball. Unfortunately, an eyelash too quick. He realizes it's got enough. Then he realizes that he better run in case it does stay in the park.
1-2. Half swing liner, and that was absolutely lasered to the third base side.
Yeah, he's getting some conversation from the Sox dugout from Carlos Rodon.
Lindor looked like the kid who broke a window in the backyard.
Well, he pretty much, you know what's going on in his mind. What he's saying is, Lindor was saying, you know, I had to protect it. I didn't do it on purpose. That just one of those things, you know.
Omar was just waving at him. The Sox dugout.
Yeah, but he's going to make sure he's not getting hit with the next one that comes that way.
1-2. Great reaction from Lindor. Breaking ball hit in the air to left field. Delmonico back at the warning track. Nicky! For out number 1.
That ball kept on drifting, and Nicky kept it in the ballpark. Opposite field, it's a rolling curveball that stayed up, and Lindor got most of it, just not all of it. As he bids for number 27 again, Nicky right there to make the catch. And what a catch it was. This ball is leaving the ballpark if he doesn't bring it back. Nice play.
Third baseman by trade, Nicky Delmonico in left, hauls one back for the first out of the 7th inning. So now the Eastern North Carolina native Lonnie Chisenhall. Sox in the 7th are going to bring up the top of the order. Hanson, Sanchez, and Abreu against Carlos Carrasco, who seems to be in this for the long haul tonight.
He can and usually does go deep into the ball game.
We're talking about the American League wild card race. The Angels lost today. The Rangers have one win against Atlanta, but are trailing in doubleheader game 2, 5-4 in the 7th. Texas could be a half game back of the Angels with a win in that second game, but they're down by a run in the 7th.
That's what it was invented for. Originally just one wild card, now 2, to keep as many teams as possible in the race as late as possible. Because you see more movement at the trade deadlines, teams in the race.
Second base, Hansen. There's a standing board in the American League in the wild card race. Royals, Mariners, Rays still definitely in it, a game under 500.
Yeah, I mean, just about the time you think it's ready to write off the Royals, they come back and put together a little bit of a winning streak. They're leading 6-2 tonight in the 8th inning in Detroit. And the full moon.
It's been the whole wild card race. It's been a full moon.
Beware the vampires.
Thank you for that great life advice.
But you don't have any problem with the garlic you eat.
Left field, Delmonico. I'm only Italian. I don't carry cloves of garlic with me. Stretch time. Tickets as low as $5 in the upper level, $15 in the lower level, and parking for only $10. Special kid-focused activities located throughout the ballpark. Family Sundays, proudly presented by Coca-Cola. Visit whitesox.com/Sundays to buy your tickets today. 1-zip, bottom 7. Indians' 13-game win streak on the line, as Reynaldo Lopez has kept the Sox in it despite a gem from Carlos Carrasco to this point. So the Sox have 2 hits in the game. Avi to lead off the 5th, Kevin Smith to lead off the 6th. But a double play immediately thereafter, and Carrasco still faced the minimum and continues to with his first strikeout since the 4th inning. Time now for Sticks and Stone, where we try and jog Steve's memory about his own playing career. Who was the first Indians batter that you plunked?
Wow.
Rusty, Charlie, or Dave?
Well, because I have no recollection of either Dave or Rusty, I'll say Charlie Spikes.
You don't remember Dave Duncan?
Oh, no, I know Dave, yes. I just don't remember facing him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I thought if you maybe had a rough time with somebody at the plate, you just actually repressed them existing.
Oh, no, because I still remember Jim Rice vividly.
Have you bought anything for Dwayne Kuiper with his impending visitation to Chicago?
Thinking about a polo mallet.
Is that for you?
No, so I can whack him with it.
Right, so you're not actually buying it for him. You're buying it for you to whack him.
Well, he'll be a recipient of it eventually.
Well, Dwayne's brother did come and attack you in the booth.
He did, yeah. That was terribly uncalled for by Glenn.
Up the middle, Carrasco stonewalls it and has out number 2. All right, let's see if you got this right here tonight.
I don't think there's any way I can get this right. I got it right. June 10th of 1973. Wow.
What's the closest you ever came to a brawl? Starting a brawl.
Hitting Cecil Cooper in the neck with a fastball in Baltimore after he hit 5 home runs against me in a couple of years.
And the only reason you hit him was because he hit those home runs?
No. It got away, and so he was very unhappy, as you would expect. And so...
Do you know what a polygraph is?
Yeah, it's like a polymorph or whatever. Polyglyco? Yeah. Anyway, so I did hit him, and then he was very mad, and he was big, and I knew he could run fairly well, so I went in to talk with him and explained to him that there was no way in the world I would ever hit him intentionally and how many times I had faced him in the past without ever even knocking him down. And he thought that was plausible.
So he bought it.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Amazingly enough.
Lindor to first for out number 3. Carrasco through 7, 1-0.
Miller Time brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's our Miller Moments, and it's largely been the night of Carlos Carrasco, who's been absolutely magnificent. He surrendered 2 singles, neither hit awfully hard, and other than that, no walks, 8 strikeouts, and it's just been well-placed pitch after well-placed pitch. The night of Carlos Carrasco.
Yet, his team's only up a run for him. And the Sox are right in this thing with Encarnacion leading off the 8th against Infante. That was a strike and not called. Ball 1. We've seen so much, and I know it's not just this year, but if the catch isn't clean, you're just significantly less likely to get a strike.
If the catch isn't clean, or if your catcher is setting up on the inside corner, you happen to throw one in the zone on the outside corner, but he's got to go a foot or 14 inches to catch it, you normally don't get that call either.
Right. To clarify, you don't hit the target.
Right.
You're in some trouble.
Well, in the neighborhood, yeah. Later, the target, certainly.
2-1 to Encarnacion, who's 1 for 3, and since 2012, it may surprise you to see that Edwin Encarnacion is the Major League home run leader.
That when he was hitting 35 plus every year for Toronto.
Two and 2 for Encarnacion. Carlos Carrasco, by the way, with 3 career shutouts. Shutout, by the way, is a complete game shutout, to be clear. 2 and 2. You ready to tell that story about your dog, Larry?
I was going to wait till the end of the at-bat.
I think you're going to wait until the cows come home.
No. The cows will not come home before this inning is over, I don't think.
We've been waiting for a long time for the cows to come home.
Well, this is going to be strike 3 if he throws that breaking ball low and away to Encarnacion. Then I'll tell Larry stealing Thanksgiving.
Check to swing. He did go.
Boy, Mark Carlson does not want to hear that Larry story. We'll take a look from the side and see what Mark was looking at. Call could have gone either way, and it went Encarnacion's way.
Encarnacion appealed himself.
Yep.
Did I swing?
We've seen it a few times with various players doing that.
Three and 2. Infante missed low. Leadoff walk for Encarnacion.
Okay, so here's Thanksgiving, and Larry was a Rhodesian Ridgeback who was an incredible chow hound, literally.
Your dog, Larry.
He lived for food.
And now Ricky Renteria is going to go out to the mound after a little conversation with the plate umpire, Manny Gonzalez, who he felt like, it seems, squeezed Infante.
Yeah, there was a couple pitches, could have gone either way, and so Danny Farquhar comes in the ball game, and as he trots in, we will step out. Be back after these messages.
Device, watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Our Hyundai call to the pen. It's Danny Farquhar, who inherits Encarnacion at first base on for the 44th time. He's 3-2. His ERA 3.92. And he's got to deal with Santana.
Bullseye for strike one to Santana, who's 2 for 3 with a run.
There you see the shift, looking for that double play ground ball. Santana's ground into only 9 of them this year, in close to 500 at bats, so he doesn't do it very often.
That ball's hammered to right field. Carlos Santana with a 2-run homer for Cleveland.
Santana hitting his 23rd home run. Now he's driven in 75, and he put a little daylight between the Tribe and our Sox. Fourth home run replay. It's a fastball right down the middle, and Santana, who's had his usual very good year, puts a charge into it. This a no-doubter.
106 miles an hour off the bat and 425 melancholy feet.
Oh, he crushed that ball. Had a hell of a fastball right in his happy spot and hit the daylights out of it.
So that run of Encarnacion is charged to Infante. The run of Santana charged to Farquhar. Nearly raised Diaz. 1 ball, 1 strike.
So here's Larry at Thanksgiving. Now that there's a 3-run lead, and he was a very energetic and very hungry dog all the time.
Okay.
So the turkey was made, half was consumed, and the other half was sitting there in the gigantic tray, or it was cooked in whatever it was, container.
Yeah.
And while watching television, I had no idea that Larry was doing his best to try to get to that pan containing the turkey, all of the gravy and everything else.
Okay.
Hear this crash. Larry has gotten up with his paws, brought it to him, grabbed it, it fell on the floor, and now it was a life and death struggle between me and Larry to get the remains of the turkey.
What did you want it for?
I just wanted to make sure that Larry didn't chew up all the bones along with it.
Okay.
Yeah, so fortunately, Larry was fine. Unfortunately, it was a life and death struggle for the carcass of that turkey.
So you're basically sparring with your dog to get at the turkey.
Because he really wanted that turkey, and I didn't want to see him having any damage from all of the gigantic bones, especially in the legs. And yeah, it was one of those days. No leftovers, no nothing, and Larry smelled like a turkey for 2 months.
And you thought facing Jim Rice was tough.
Yeah, facing Larry was a lot tougher. Jim Rice at least didn't try to bite me.
What did you eat for Thanksgiving dinner?
The turkey.
I want to know. You did not eat the turkey.
Yeah, half of it.
He had it in his mouth.
No, that was after eating half of the turkey.
Oh, you had eaten half. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Sitting there
I had some
in a tryptophan coma while Larry was stealing Thanksgiving.
I had some sincere questions about the household. Had you eaten the turkey after, as Allen pinch runs for Yandy Diaz?
He's got big speed, and most likely you would think would be taking off somewhere in this sequence. We saw him last night. He had a 2-run double. First 2 driven in the major leagues for Allen.
Right center field toward the alleyway. Adam lays out and can't make the catch. It bounces into his glove on a hop. And runners at the corners for Cleveland here in the 8th. He gave it everything but couldn't get there in time.
Adam got a good break on this ball, slicing across, and unfortunately can't get to it. But once he knew he couldn't make the catch. Then it becomes imperative that he smother the hop, and he was able to do that. Not an easy thing to do when you're diving across. And Allen, once he sees the ball fall, then pretty easy as he coasts into third base.
So now the infield in for the Sox, with Zimmer coming in to pinch run.
Indians are very happy that he is back. He was their everyday center fielder. He's got great speed. We talked about 17 of 18 in stolen bases.
All right, so here's the bone-chilling thing. The Indians have won 13 in a row, and Bradley Zimmer and Jay Bruce are hurt, and Jason Kipnis is hurt.
Well, the pitching they've gotten has been superlative, as we've seen an example of it tonight from Carrasco.
Came into yesterday's game with a 1.51 ERA for the starters during the win streak.
And the most amazing part about this streak is the fact they're doing it without Andrew Miller. That's a huge part of their bullpen.
Outside 2-1 on Tyler Naquin, who until this inning had the lone RBI of the game, a sac fly in the fourth.
Sox pen up and going, and it is Dylan Covey.
Two balls and a strike on Naquin. Zimmer bluffed running, pitches outside. It's 3-1.
You think he's going to be running here, as Terry Francona will try to build up a lead which will take them out of a save situation and try to save his bullpen.
It spins in for a strike. Well, rather surprising that he wasn't. Perez next. Infield still in. Zimmer runs. It's ball four. Bases loaded. Nobody out.
You can apply for an all-digital, no-fee loan now at eclicklending.com. eClick is located in Chicagoland and is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending. Boom! Your mortgage just happened. And here comes Don Cooper to talk with the entire infield.
Tomorrow's game should be a tremendous pitching matchup.
You would think so. Got a good one tonight. I mean, it can't be much better than what happened through 6 innings with a 1-0 score against Carlos Carrasco, who was giving up nothing. Now the pen's involved, and things have not started out too well for the pen tonight.
So Perez will hit as Farquhar tries to minimize the damage. Bases loaded. Nobody out, 8th inning. Infield in for the Sox, trying to keep it at 3-0. On the ground at first, juggled by Davidson, and everybody's safe.
Rick Renteria is going to go to the pen, but it'll be the second error of the night for Matt Davidson at first base. This is Squibber off the end of the bat. He's coming home with it, but it hit off the glove, then he couldn't pick it up. Perez did not hustle to first base, but he still beat the play. So as Farquhar departs, so will we. We'll be back.
with the Lovables Dance Squad as they prepare for the upcoming season. Plus, before he became a local high school athlete standout, Drew Hahn had a fight for his life. Watch his inspiring story and more on The Extra Point, presented by State Farm. That's Saturday at 6:30 on CSN, or live stream at csnchicago.com/watchlive. And our Hyundai call to the pen is Dylan Covey. He inherits the bases full of Indians. On for the 13th time. He's 0-4. His ERA just south of 8.5.
The Dylan Covey will face Francisco Lindor. And certainly it's not the season that Dylan would have wanted with the long-term injury in the middle of the year. But after everything he went through, from being drafted in the first round by the Brewers 7 years ago, and then learning that he was somebody with diabetes, making it to the major leagues is something that he had striven for a long time, and has done so with the Sox. And here's hoping for his sake he builds on what's been sometimes a rough season, but a first season in the majors.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't get an opportunity. He was a Rule 5 draft. He has gotten his opportunity, got hurt, and now trying to come back and show Don Cooper that he's got it.
1, 2, 3.
Nicely done. And the only thing that Kevin Smith had to be concerned about was getting an angle on the throw. He was able to loop it over Lindor's head, and the double play. It's fairly easy after that. Nice throw by Dylan. He put a little something on it, and then the double play was easy.
Just how it looks on the backfields in spring training right there. Monty Chisenhall, a foul ball for strike one. 8-batter inning right now for Cleveland after each team sent up 9 in the first last night. Carlos Carrasco just waiting his turn on that Cleveland bench.
This for Carrasco a whole lot easier than it would have been had the 3 spot not gone up on the board here in the 8th.
One ball, one strike. Covey to Chisenhall, and 1-2. I feel like this series, Lonnie Chisenhall has missed a couple pitches that sometimes he hits pretty hard.
Well, he's had an injury-plagued season. I mean, he hasn't been healthy all the way, and so it's every time you are put on the shelf for any time, it's real easy to lose that stroke.
Swing and a miss for strike 3, and the inning's over. Third strikeout for Cleveland, but 3 runs on the board for the Indians, creating some separation.
We could have one of those, especially late.
We haven't had a cloak or a dagger on the prize shelf so far. We do have the fun meter though, and it's pinging the yellow.
Got a new outfield with Greg Allen staying in the game in left, Bradley Zimmer staying in the game in center, and Lonnie Chisenhall still in the game in right.
Urshela in at third for Yandy Diaz. And because, again, this is because of the new collective bargaining agreement, if there are 3 or more changes in 1/2 inning defensively, the entire team has to have its names over all the players' heads.
Yeah, you got to figure out where everybody is.
Yeah.
Wholesale changes for the Tribe.
Avi Garcia flicks it to right center. Zimmer's first chance. 1 down.
Let's take a look at StatCast, powered by AWS. 7th inning. We'll take a look at Nicky Delmonico going back to the wall. And sprint speed. Well, he wasn't sprinting. He was going back to 19.6. And the rest of it is the rest of it.
One down for Nicky Delmonico. 1 strike to Nicky. How often do you see it, by the way? Guy makes a play, somebody says the rest of it's the rest of it, and he comes up, he's the next batter.
It seems to happen almost all the time.
0-2 on Nicky with 1 out in the 8th.
Well, that breaking ball for Carrasco tonight has been as unhittable as we've seen all year. We've seen some excellent games. We haven't seen many with the starting pitcher having the stuff that Carrasco has tonight.
Nicky on base in 21 of his first 22 games in Major League Baseball, and just back from the DL today after that right wrist injury.
Thought he had hurt it again in a dive in left field, but fortunately able to stay in the game and try to get as many at bats from here to the end of the season as he possibly can. He's already left a wonderful impression on not only the front office, but everybody in that dugout, both as a teammate and as people who have the responsibility of putting him in or out of the lineup. He's shown himself to be a talented guy.
Breaking ball away, 1-2 on Nicky Delmonico.
Pitch number 81 on the way. So not only has Carrasco been overwhelming, but his control has been almost letter perfect all night.
Fastball at 95, strikeout number 9. Fans experience Levy Restaurant's fine dining while enjoying a breathtaking view of guaranteed rate field from the Huntington Bank Stadium Club. Memberships are available to season ticket holders, and it's also perfect for non-game day events, including weddings and corporate parties, or a wedding that also is a corporate party. For more information regarding the Huntington Bank Stadium Club, 312-674-1000. You could have a wedding at your corporate party.
You can. There certainly hasn't been any drastic decrease in velocity. Carrasco started out anywhere from 94 to 97. He is still right there. That last fastball at 96.
The prize for the Sox, by the way, after dealing with Carrasco, is likely facing one of the candidates for the AL Cy Young tomorrow, Corey Kluber. 1-2-3 inning for Carrasco, 4-0 to the 9th.
fan cam, by all means, bring the fun home.
Dog night at the ballpark. And Lucha Libre night, evidently, as well. Unsanctioned.
There's a beautiful boxer.
Evander Holyfield.
A little younger.
Manny Pacquiao.
A little older. No. Reimer Liriano checks in the game in left field.
Buster Douglas. Are we done with that? First pitch is up high from Kobe.
Yeah, we're on to the top of the ninth. And the stop of the ninth.
Stop of the ninth. Jose Ramirez, nothing for 4. There's a strike for Kobe, 1-1.
Lee Ramirez has been swinging it. It's a wonderful accomplishment if they can stop him from getting a base hit.
Coming into this series, the game before the Indians arrived, Ramirez had 5 extra base hits to tie a major league record. 3 homers this series. And he didn't go. Jose Ramirez, 15+ extra base hits over a 9-game span since 1900. He's one of 3 guys.
That's pretty amazing. He's had 2 great years back to back.
Find me a baseball player who's in crossword puzzles more than Mel Ott, by the way.
Can't remember doing one.
People paint themselves into corners with the T and the T back to back, and they're the flat caps.
Well, there's 2 different years of flat caps, and we've got another one this year for you, only it's gray. It's not green. Very good looking, but just a different look.
Just in case you were thinking about becoming a flat cap model.
I'll take the one on the left.
It's ball 4. Covey misses the cap, right? Not the guy on the left.
No, the cap. Yeah,
Okay.
well, that'll be fine.
Person sold separately. They kind of look like a less snarky version of Waldorf and Stadler from the Muppets. The 2 guys up in the
I'm mystified.
in the box.
Oh,
You never seen them? They
had box seats?
did.
Oh. Which one was named Snarky?
No. That's and as a famous person once said, the rest of it's the rest of it. Told by Jim Angio, our director, that Snarky's friend is Hutch. Oh my gosh. Ball and a strikeout at Encarnacion.
So the last game this year is what? October 1st?
Okay. Mine is well before that.
Oh, that's right.
In fact, it may be much, much sooner if this continues. Covey looking for a ground ball. Or a pickoff.
It looked like he caught out of the corner of his eye that Ramirez was leaning towards second base.
How much can you see that peripherally, though, if you're focused on the plate?
You can see it. You can see a couple different things. An aware pitcher will see if a guy takes an extra step on a lead. Some guys will give away their intentions by putting their hands in different places. So just like hitters are trying to study pitchers to find out the tells they might have when they're coming to first base, when they're going home, Pitchers are doing the same thing with base runners, and they're looking at a normal lead, which is usually, let's call it 11 to 12 feet, the normal lead at first base. And if they deviate from that or change anything, that's a tip-off that there's a good chance they're going to be going.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Dylan Covey wipes out Encarnacion for out number 1 in the 9th.
Second strikeout for Dylan. Good breaking ball down. Nice stop by Kevin Smith.
By the way, those tells you're talking about, those small movements with so much video around, you do anything that tips off anybody, teams are going to be on it real fast, Apple Watch or not. How about that story from yesterday?
Yeah.
The Red Sox.
Pretty interesting, as the Red Sox have admitted that they were doing it. Quick to say that I believe nobody in the front office, the manager, the pitching coach, the Jimmy Fund, the Prudential Building, and nobody else in Boston knew that the Red Sox were doing this. But they admit doing it. Yankees called them on it, and we'll see how this plays out.
Well, you and I were talking over dinner the other day. The managers that you enjoyed playing for the most are the guys who are always looking for an edge.
Yes, most of them were trying to do it within the framework of the rules. And
sure,
this is, you know, this could be particularly damaging for the game. So I expect Commissioner to come down fairly hard on Boston.
But the point being, it's not that long of a leap from looking for any edge to looking for an electronic edge that's not within the rules.
No, and look, they've been trying to steal signs since the beginning of this game, and some teams do it very successfully. But there are certain things you can do to steal signs and certain things you can't. Like electronics, one of those things you can't do, whether it's Apple Watches or anything else. But as far as base runners are concerned, or first base or third base coaches, or sometimes guys in the on-deck circle, or guys in the middle of your bench who are particularly attuned to various things that pitchers or fielders will do, yeah, they're doing a lot of that.
Any truth to the rumor that you tried to use in your era, not you necessarily, but teams tried to use the big Sony Watchman to steal signs?
I think if you take a look at the history of baseball, you'll find that there were lots of things over the course of the years that people tried to do. Some of them more successful than others. The real successful ones you haven't heard anything about.
Care to throw anyone under the bus?
No, I don't.
Don Cooper out to the mound with 2 walks and a strikeout in the inning. Dylan Covey came in the 8th inning, got a 1-2-3 double play from Lindor, and then struck out Chisenhall and was impressively able to navigate out of big trouble.
Did a very good job of getting out of the 8th, and now Don Cooper has said a couple of words to try to get him out of the 9th and keep the lead at 4 runs.
It's going to be Carlos Carrasco's game in the 9th.
Well, you would certainly think so with the minimum of pitches that he's used so far.
And there's no sign of human energy being expended in the Cleveland bullpen.
And when Terry Francona has the opportunity to allow his starting pitcher to go, he'll give him that opportunity.
Especially after using 8 pitchers last night.
And there you see Brad Mills to the right of Terry Francona. He is his right-hand man, his bench coach, and he's been for quite some time.
Second base, Hansen, Saladino, safe over at first. Throw is not in time. Nicely done by Ramirez to get across for run number 5.
And Joe McEwing and Rick Renteria want to check. Slow developing. And then the throw to the plate. Ramirez figuring perhaps Matt Davidson would be distracted. He got up quickly enough and got the ball home, just couldn't get it there in time. As Ramirez flashes by Kevin Smith.
Nothing worth the review. Nicely done by Ramirez.
And Manny Gonzalez, when you looked at that replay, was about as close as you could get to a play, seeing it all the way and realizing there was no tag.
Two and 0 to Bradley Zimmer, who pinch ran for Almonte in the 8th. Cleveland threatening to go on a 14-game win streak. To third, Sanchez retires the side. The Indians tack on one more and will play the home ninth with Carrasco coming back.
Episode of High School Lights presented by Wintrust. Enjoy all the thrilling highlights, matchups, and post-game interviews. That's Friday at 11 p.m. on CSN or live stream at csnchicago.com/watchlive. So Carrasco's trying to complete the ball game for the first time this year. Would be the 6th complete game for the Indians. 1 by Tomlin, 4 by Kluber, who we'll see tomorrow. And there are some very impressive numbers for Carlos Carrasco. 8 innings, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts, nary a walk, and very few hard hit balls.
Kevin Smith takes ball 1. New second baseman for Cleveland, by the way. Eric Gonzalez has checked in. Single in the 5th for Avi Garcia, single in the 6th for Kevin Smith. Double play immediately thereafter. So Carrasco has faced 24 through 8. Kevin couldn't hold up 1 and 2, and that breaking ball still has some bite.
Yeah, it's one of those nights where you could tell in the first inning that it would be a very difficult night for anybody in a White Sox uniform with a bat. Because the guy on the mound just had too good a stuff, and you could tell it early. A 1-2-3 first, a 1-2-3 second, a 1-2-3 third, and 4th.
Don't forget tomorrow the series finale, 7:10 start time. Carlos Rodon versus Corey Kluber. The two aces.
Should be a wonderful matchup. That should be a terrific game as the Sox trying to interrupt the winning streak of the Tribe, which looks like it's going to go to 14 games, tying last year's streak. There's a man who's going to go tomorrow, and a man who will be battling most likely Chris Sale last 3.5 weeks of the season for the Cy Young Award.
And if Kluber wins it, it's going to be in large part because his offense has beaten up on Sale this year.
Pretty amazing to win the Cy against a guy who's been healthy, pitching all year when you've missed a month, and yet his numbers, there's a very good chance his numbers will exceed Chris Sale's numbers.
His strikeout rate is asinine. It's been hovering around 35%.
I know. Just great stuff, and he's having yet another excellent season.
3-2 on Smith. First base. Santana gets a glove on it and picks it up.
Santana's had quite a night. Not only a 2-run homer, but he's played a very solid first base. Kevin bidding for his second hit and only the third hit of the night for the Sox. Almost gets it by Santana, but he's able to knock it down, stay right with it, and make the play himself. It's a good effort.
One out. Tyler Saladino. Carrasco could do this under 100 pitches.
It's a remarkable night for him in a lot of different ways. If he does complete it under 100 pitches, it'll be even that much more impressive. Thrown 20 balls all night out of his 91 pitches. That's another remarkable stat from tonight's outing.
Second base, Eric Gonzalez, out number 2. Carrasco still has just the one 3-ball count that just came to Kevin Smith in this 9th inning.
There's also been 2 balls hit to an outfielder all night long. That shows you the dominance. Garcia flied out in the 2nd inning, and Garcia flied out in the 8th inning.
Adam Engel, right center field, and deep, and Adam Engel breaks the shutout. As batter number 27, Engel goes deep.
Line drive rocket to right center field. The 5th of the year for Adam Engel. He's now driven in 15. And he got a hold of a first ball fastball. It's our 4th home run replay. Adam takes it out of the yard. And it's a 5-1 game.
What a wild result against a guy who seemingly was going to be untouchable.
He has been.
The 9-hitter, Adam Engel, with a home run to bust up the shutout. So it won't be the 4th career shutout, and with that home run, another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula. We'll slid one more in this Wednesday night. Back to the well with the breaking stuff. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Second base, Gonzalez just gets him, and Carlos Carrasco goes a complete 9, but doesn't get the shutout. Angle the home run. The Indians have won 14 straight for the second year in a row.
It's really a shame. Ronaldo Lopez threw the ball very well in his 6 innings of work. He gave up just 1 run on 6 hits, yet he is a tough luck loser to a man who was overwhelming in Carlos Carrasco. So, tomorrow, great matchup. Rodon and Kluber, and we will see you then.
Sounds good to me, Uncle Steve. 7:10 first pitch between Kluber and Rodon. So, for our producer Todd Benjaminson, our director Jim Angio, our associate producer Chris Kampka, tech manager Mark Harper, and the executive producer Jim Corno Jr., and our entire wonderful crew here in Chicagoland. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. So long from Guaranteed Rate Field. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on CSN. Good night.